Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's me, Nancy. And this is Silky Intuitive. I'm going to open up the cards tonight and just do an open reading for you all. I just experienced something a little bit strange. I had a beautiful visit today with my ex husband, my daughter, my granddaughter. Beautiful family visit. And I walked my family to their cars, their vehicles, so they could drive home. And a couple of neighbors across the street started screaming at one another. The the altercation between the two of them. I don't know if they're married or not. Hell, these days, what does a marriage license mean anymore anyway? The confrontation between the two of them started to escalate, and it started to escalate quickly. Got a little problematic for me. I was a little bit in fear by the way they were throwing the threats around at one another, that, that they were going to start shooting at one another by the way they were talking. And so I scrambled quickly, got my family into their cars, and they left. I came inside, and the gentleman started walking down the street, and he disappeared from sight and came back after a little while. And they started screaming at one another again. It was a pretty nasty altercation, I think, between people. Even on my worst day with my ex-husband, and we spoke about it already, would we have ever exchanged such ugly words and such threats? And I'm very bothered by that. And so I'm hoping, and I turned the camera on. Now, whether or not I'm going to release this video or not depends on what is showing in the cards. Now, so you know, I'm doing a quick cleansing here. This, my friends, is a classic Doreen Virtue deck from 1998. It looks to me like it's a first print. This is called Healing with the Angels Oracle Cards, guidebook and cards by Doreen Virtue, PhD. There's a very young shot of her on the back of this. She looks like she couldn't be any more than 30 years old here, 30, 35. Absolutely lovely. I thought this was interesting. It was a gift from my beautiful daughter. She has had them for years, and since her husband is, frankly, he's fearful of the tarot, non-believer in what I do, and that's all right. I don't care. Uh, she gave them to me. Anyway, they're lovely, and they're going to go through a quick cleansing here. I'll put them out for a nice moon bath later. Okay. So we've got that. I've got some clarity. I've got some traditional tarot. This card keeps wanting to pull itself up. It's the Lover's card. It's so much of what I'm hearing lately is revolving around choices, questions, quandaries, uh, unsettling situations between married people, between partners. A lot of it because of outside influences. Some of those influences are other people, affairs, drugs, even alcohol can be on the level of something that is interfering in your relationship. I just want to see what's under it. Hard work, which I find is interesting. Some people, maybe they're married to their work. I hear that all the time. Okay, I'm going to do another little bit of shuffle. Want to see if I can work that Lover's card back into the deck. I'm getting my arms back, guys. They're, uh, although the bruising is still definitely there. I don't know if I can get a good angle on it for you. There's part of it. If you can see where the dark area is at, that's all bruised. But it's actually starting to calm down. Where I'm really having trouble right now is my ribs, where I cracked my ribs because my granddaughter, whom I love, and I will suffer every pain there is to endure just to hold that little girl. So she made sure of it. She wanted to be held by Amma all day long. That's what she calls me. She calls me Amma. Now, enough of that. Let's talk about the matter at hand here. So, from what I witnessed today, I also heard from my daughter that's someone we know, young woman, her spouse has had affairs. And I don't know why I feel that it's something that a lot of people are going through right now. I don't know. Are we unhappy with one another? Are we just unhappy with the choices that we make? A lot of these relationships, I gotta say it. I gotta say it. A lot of these relationships are happening in the workplace. Number one. A lot of the relationships that are being put in jeopardy because of affairs, a lot of those affairs are happening when the spouse leaves for work. I think there are a lot of new involvements happening, but around those new involvements, people have to expect that there's going to be some pretty agonizing, painful endings, tragic endings, hard words exchanged between people, and it changes. It changes the nature of the relationship. You cannot take words back. You cannot take those kind of words back. There's there's an element of honesty in those words. Now, I'm going to look at the King of Cups for just 1 second, because to me, he's the romantic. He's the sentimental one. He's the one that brings the flowers. He's the one that doesn't care that dinner is going to be 2 hours late because you spent the afternoon at the beauty parlor having a mani-pedi. He's not that kind of a guy. He's not the kind of guy that's going to snap like the kind of jerkweed I saw today and the kind of crap he was saying to his wife. See, here he is. Here he is. He's all over this reading. Let me see what I've got here. So I've got the family situation. Now, I don't think these people particularly came from a family that had money, standing. They didn't appear to me. But what this talks about is the family connection. Is it a rich family connection? In that situation, I would have to say no. I'm actually doing a reading for 2 people I've never seen before. I'm really trying to maybe figure out what kind of people I'm living next door to. The King of Swords. Sometimes cruel, sometimes angry. Now, This I find is a really interesting energy right here, the Six of Swords, and I'll tell you why. These people just moved into the neighborhood 2 weeks ago. This is recent. This is the card of moving. It usually takes on the characteristics of a move that brings you into more stability. I'm not quite so sure about the element of stability that I saw here. Now that all this energy is coming out, connected to just a reading that I'm throwing for two people never spoken to, just saw across the street, never met, and their energy is flying out of the deck. The hostility, the anger, which tells me that on a very broad scale, a lot of people are going through this. Now, I'm not an astrologer, and I wouldn't be able to put my finger on a planetary movement that could make two people feel this way about one another, speak to one another. See, yes, they were out there playing the fool with one another. They seriously were. They were both acting the fool. They were bringing negative attention to themselves. That is the kind of chance that maybe we don't need to be taken in our lives, is it? Because both of those people left my front yard looking not just like this, refusing to connect, refusing to look at one another, even refusing to scream at one another at some point. I think they had all but had enough. Look at what we've got here. The Nine of Swords and the Ten of Swords. A broken heart. Someone was spoken to harshly. And that soul is going to go to bed this evening. And she's going to cry. And she's going to feel the pain, the agony, the anguish of possibly someone who has just stormed out the door, but is now on his way to possibly see a lover. Because in all of this screaming and arguing, that little bit of something did come out of her mouth. That's the thing that made him so angry. He turned around and walked away because she called him on where he was going and what he was doing. So I find this all very interesting. I have no idea who these people were. I doubt it though. Well, I'm never planning on seeing those two again, but you never know. So here we've got the struggle. That is the Seven of Wands. That's a passionate fight, but usually those are the kind of fights where you can kiss and make up and come together and everybody is happy again. I'm going to say that these two people maybe are married to one another. I do think there's a contract between these two people. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe one of them is very religious. Or maybe both of them come from a very religious background. And so what they're doing actually is an offense to their fundamental beliefs. Apparently what he is doing outside of his marriage. Like I said, I think a lot of these situations are being manifested in the workplace. This guy in particular, a Romeo, a Casanova. I think he kind of spreads it around. He does get shot down, though. I do think he does face some sort of a rejection in this process. of spreading himself around. Now, I can say he's got maybe children with many women. Um, I see a lot of that too. I didn't notice that there was a child standing off to the side with another woman. And I have to wonder if maybe that was their child. Because if they don't know it, they're traumatizing their goddamn child with all of that foolishness and screaming and threats of going and getting a gun and blowing your freaking brains out kind of crap. Which I think somebody called the police on him for that. The one woman was dialing the phone. So I didn't have to do it. But I think somebody in that situation that I just witnessed, I think there may be children involved, which is really the sad element of it. And I also see that this guy is no stranger to abusing women. I think he has probably got a whole bunch of girls waiting around to get abused by him because he feels very much to me like a fat Casanova, a guy who spreads his money around when he can. He also spreads his sperm around and a load of shit every chance he gets. Because he took and did a verbal dump out there in the middle of my street today. And it left me spinning. Yeah, I think the female energy in the situation is growing herself a set of balls and she's getting ready to start over. Absolutely. Yeah. I think she's going to be all right once she sorts out her life. Good luck to her. Because here we have a woman who takes charge of her life. She's putting a burden down. She's laying something aside that is painful to her. She's giving it up through inner strength, through that inner wisdom, that inner voice even that tells her it's time to screw your nuts back on and get the hell out of here. She's got a brand new beginning for her, and I wish her well if she does make this move in her life, because it really is, there really is a how do I want, there's a individual's will, their own will. What are they going to do about it? It's ultimately about the individual. Even though we're talking about a couple, we really need to talk about the individual, not just what this individual is going to do, but the coward who made a scene in the middle of the street like a gigantic asshole, embarrassing his woman, possibly his wife, embarrassing whoever she was with, and that poor child that they had with them. Because that kind of crap is what traumatizes the children. That little person will carry that ugly scene with them for a very long time. It wounds them. It changes who they are. All right, let's see what we got here for clarifiers, if we've got anything at all. What else have we got for this situation? The Death card. The Ten of Wands again. The Hermit. Well, I would say about our friend, our girl, she has probably been thinking about leaving this gigantic jerk for a while. Now, the thing that I'm getting from this is I think she's going to give him yet another chance. Even though she's going to let this scene, this ugly scene go, I think she's going to take him back. It tends to be a, it tends to be part of the karmic cycle that people play out with one another. Two tens. The Ten of Swords, the ending. The ending, at least for now, maybe of his behavior. The Ten of Cups. They'll be happy again at some point. They'll do the kiss and the makeup, and they'll think that everything is all better again. But one of those two people is always going to bear a scar from that incident. One of those two people is always going to carry that with them. Maybe even that little boy. Because they spilled, you could see it on that child's face. They spilled part of that kid's soul on the ground as they played that out. For it may as well been the whole world to see as far as that kid is concerned. It wasn't just some people down the street. It wasn't just some people across the street getting into their car. As far as that kid is concerned, they just spilled his little heart all over the pavement. Well, now we have a lot of completions here. We've got the Judgment, the World, and the Sun. So I would hope that this talks about maybe a better day for these two people if they're going through financial difficulties that can cause issues in a marriage, that can sometimes be enough to make you throw in the towel and start doing other things that are equally as offensive to the relationship. There's question. There's a question about what it is that they're building. I would hope this talks about a better day for all of them. It's a karmic cycle. It's a karmic cycle. Okay. The Magician. I think he's a con with women. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yep. Oh my God, yes. Yeah. He's con with women. A lot of it is happening to that poor girl while they're both, maybe while he's at work. I have the Three of Cups here too. To me, there's something going on there that not only did I hear the evidence loud and clear that his behavior is less than trustworthy within a marriage. She already knows that. And the fact that now that little looked like maybe a 6-year-old child, that kid knows it too. And that's the one that I'm really more furious about right now too. Because I don't know if people really understand how they can shatter a child's outlook. When they're kids like that, they need to be kids. They need to see mommy and daddy happy. And if mommy and daddy can't live together anymore, then they need to see mommy and daddy happily ending what it is that they need to end now. Well, for them, if this speaks to you in any way, there's new love coming for someone. To me, that speaks more to that young man and possibly his many infidelities, maybe, because it feels to me very much like there may be more than one. I think he may be a con man who pulls this off. Now, the only advice coming from this is divine timing. And maybe this is saying that with divine timing, she can free herself from what feels to me like an abusive relationship. Maybe because we've got these three big heavy hitters right here: the world, the sun, and the judgment. They follow one another. Boom, boom, boom. They're in the deck. It's clear that there is a new life for one of these two people. But I have to wonder if these two people should really be together anymore. The theme that I was introduced to today, I hope they don't live across the street from me, really. I hope they are only visitors, because honestly, I couldn't stand to be the witness to that kind of crap all the time. All the time. It would drive me right out of the neighborhood. So I'm hoping for the best for me too, I think. Anyway, we're losing daylight here. I am working with natural light right now, so I think it's time to turn the camera off and breathe for a while. It was a very interesting experience that I had today. I wish that young couple well. I am going to post this video. I think it's kind of important. I just had to... I had to see what that was about, because it struck me so... It struck me so hard to watch, and mostly to watch that little child across the street, and the way that kid was reacting was pretty potent information. It was a whole lot to see. So there you go, guys. I'm shutting it down now. Take care of yourselves. If I have the opportunity, I'll come back with another general reading this week. Maybe we're supposed to be looking for a message on something somewhere. And until the next time, reach out to me if you want a private reading at my Weebly webpage. If you want to look at some energy videos, love videos, readings, all 12 signs, sun, moon, rising, that's at the Vimeo link, and I'll actually leave that down below too. So there you go. Take care, be well, and peace.